If you've spent any time around portrait photography, you've probably heard the same advice again and again. Get a fast prime lens. Open it up to f/1.2 or f/1.4, blur the background, and you'll instantly get that professional look. A 50mm f/1.2, 85mm f/1.4, or 35mm f/1.4 can absolutely produce stunning images, but there's a side of the story that doesn't get discussed nearly enough. Sometimes, that ultra-fast prime you're relying on can actually make your portrait sessions more difficult, less flexible, and even less comfortable for the person standing in front of your camera. And surprisingly, the lens that solves many of these problems might already be sitting in your bag, a 24 to 70mm f/2.8 zoom. Let's be clear from the beginning. Fast primes are fantastic. They can deliver gorgeous background separation, beautiful rendering, excellent low-light performance, and that cinematic look photographers love. But owning expensive glass doesn't automatically make your portraits better. The biggest difference between an average portrait and an unforgettable one often has very little to do with aperture. It comes down to communication, timing, confidence, composition, and the relationship you build with your subject. Think about what actually happens during a portrait session. At first, many people are nervous. They don't know where to stand, what to do with their hands, or what expression looks natural. You start talking, giving simple directions, showing them a few good images, and slowly they begin to relax. Their shoulders drop. Their expressions become more natural. They stop worrying about the camera. That's when the magic starts happening. Now imagine you're using an 85mm prime. You begin with a tight headshot, but then you want a waist-up composition. You have to physically move backward. Then you decide you want a full body shot, so you move even farther away. A few moments later, you want another close portrait, so you walk forward again. Every time you move, you're also changing the rhythm of the session. For you, those movements may seem completely normal. For your subject, they can feel like a series of little interruptions. They may start wondering whether they are standing incorrectly, or whether they need to change their pose. Instead of simply interacting with you, they're constantly trying to figure out what you want next. Multiply those interruptions across an entire session, and you may end up losing some of those natural moments that make portraits feel authentic. There's another issue that's even more subtle: personal space. The closer you physically get to someone, the more noticeable your presence becomes. Some people are perfectly comfortable with a photographer working close to them. Others become tense almost immediately. This can be especially important when photographing clients who have little or no experience in front of a camera. A zoom gives you another option. Instead of constantly changing your physical position, you can find a comfortable distance and make many framing adjustments from there. Want a tighter portrait? Zoom in. Want to show more of the surroundings? Zoom out. You can continue talking while changing the composition, and your subject can stay in the same comfortable rhythm. And this brings us to an important photography concept that gets misunderstood all the time: perspective. Focal length itself isn't what creates facial distortion. Your shooting distance is what changes perspective. If you stand in exactly the same position and switch from one focal length to another, the relationship between the subject and the camera remains consistent. The framing changes, but the perspective doesn't magically change just because you zoomed. Problems happen when photographers use a wide focal length and then move extremely close to the subject. That's when noses can appear larger, faces can stretch, and proportions can look unusual. The issue isn't simply that a zoom lens was used. It's where the camera was positioned. The 24 to 70mm range is powerful because it covers a huge variety of portrait situations without forcing you to constantly reposition yourself. At 70mm, you can create a flattering, tighter portrait. Move toward 50mm for a more natural half-body composition, or go wider when the surroundings are important to the story. Instead of changing lenses every few minutes, you can adapt instantly. But there's another reason photographers love fast primes: background blur. And yes, beautiful bokeh can be incredible, There are moments when an f/1.2 aperture turns an ordinary location into something visually spectacular. It can isolate a subject from a distracting background and create a beautiful sense of depth. The problem is when background blur becomes the goal instead of a tool. Not every portrait needs the background completely destroyed. Imagine photographing a chef inside their kitchen, an artist surrounded by their work, a musician with their instruments, or an athlete inside their training environment. Those surroundings tell part of the story. If you shoot everything at f/1.2 and erase all of that information, you may also erase what makes the portrait meaningful. Sometimes the environment is part of the subject. There's also a practical problem with shooting extremely wide open. Focusing becomes much less forgiving. At f/1.2, the depth of field can be incredibly thin. A tiny focusing error can turn a beautiful portrait into a missed opportunity. One eye might be sharp while the other falls out of focus. The eyelashes might look perfect while the rest of the face becomes soft. Even with modern autofocus systems, extremely shallow depth of field demands precision. This doesn't mean you should stop using fast primes. It means you shouldn't feel obligated to shoot them wide open all the time. Sometimes stopping down to f/2, f/2.8, or even further can give you more usable sharpness while still providing plenty of background separation. And this is where the real answer becomes clear. You don't necessarily need to choose between primes and zooms. The smartest approach may be to use both, but for different purposes. A 24 to 70mm f/2.8 can become your workhorse lens. Use it for the majority of the session. Move smoothly between wide environmental portraits, medium compositions, and tighter shots without breaking the flow. Once you've captured the essential images, bring out your favorite fast prime for those special frames where extreme subject separation or a particular rendering style can elevate the photograph. That approach gives you flexibility without giving up creativity. More importantly, it changes where your attention goes. Instead of constantly thinking about which lens you should switch to or how far you need to move, you can concentrate on the person in front of you. You can notice their expression. You can catch a genuine smile. You can keep the conversation going. And you can react quickly when something unexpected and authentic happens. Because at the end of the day, the best portrait isn't necessarily the one shot at the widest aperture. It's the photograph that makes the viewer feel something. If your fast prime helps you achieve that, use it. If your 24 to 70mm helps you communicate better and work more naturally, use that instead. There's no award for having the most expensive lens or the thinnest possible depth of field. So before you start shopping for another f/1.2 prime, because you think that's what a serious portrait photographer is supposed to own, take another look at the zoom already in your camera bag. You might discover that the extra flexibility, faster workflow, and easier communication are giving you something far more valuable than another stop of light, better moments. And when those moments happen, the lens is no longer the most important part of the photograph. You are.